Well, greetings. Thanks for joining us on this broadcast. The land of the insane. Yeah, it's got to get more. We're just getting started. Um, so it seems like New York is. I always felt New York is the target, and so they're doing vaccine passports. It's messed up. So we're going to the next end. It's going to be activated the 16th of August. So which is pretty much goes into the middle of August. And I'm not sure if that's all that's going to happen in the middle of August, but August is kind of, I don't want to put panic out there, but kind of a hell month to a certain degree. Recently, I mean, I've been able to see this stuff a little bit more clearly, but like during the election, I was blocked, and I've been blocked for quite some time. But apparently, things are easing up a little bit, just a little bit. So yeah, nothing against New York or anything like that. Of course, you have the governor might get kicked out, which you're just changing the energies of it. Doesn't make it's going to make it any better. But it's hard to say where that's going to go. It just they're just testing things out there. Well, they're trying to do it country, throughout the world, but of course, New York is very influenced by London. So, president, right? Whatever happened to our freedom from the British colonies? Yeah, right. I just went stealth. That's all. But the next phase of our, I don't know, just it's going to be like a month of chaos. It's just going to be things that you wouldn't think would happen are going to happen. Doesn't mean that the stock market is going to crash. What's funny, that's going to hang in there. Economy is going to just not be great, but not be horrible at the same time. It's just that society, things are changing. I want to say darkness is going away. Good luck with that. I mean, if New York is doing more of that, I mean, they're doing this vaccine thing. Like I say, like negativity is going to be leaving. Why are they doing that? So it's too bad. Well, New York sold itself out, obviously, through the leaders. And I'm not sure if that's going to come back to them or what. Where that's going to go, we'll just have to wait and see. So the next phase is coming. So still feel mid August. So we might not see it ahead of time, but we're warming up to it. Wherever things are going to go. Sirius, the human machine. Well, basically, humans are being turned into machines. So I'm not trying to channel artificial intelligence, but as you can tell, people are being told. I mean, obviously, sometimes you just got to do what you have to do to pay the bills or whatever. Understood where you have to, for the health situation. That's one thing, but when they're forcing this on everybody, this is something else. So they're trying to. Part of this is to get a human like us to act like robots. Now we're already doing that already through our careers and jobs. We're kind of robots to a certain extent. So I guess they're trying to push it a little bit further. I mean, that's we have all these different agendas. Can you take a human that's not a machine and turn it into a machine? So we're seeing that right in our face. So I'm not going to go too deep into that, but there is some of that going on. Some they're being told to do something and they just go do it, not thinking about the consequences of it, the whole health situation. Yeah, this is just a big psyop what's happening right now. Big psyop. They don't really show the big agenda. Like, what's the point of all this? Obviously, just to enslave wherever they can. Just darkness. But that was the other thing. Darkness is showing itself. I mean, this might be pushing it. This is really pushing it. Where like you have like a public figure turn into a reptilian being. That's pushing it, but that'd be cool though. That's when your alien contact, that would be your alien contact. I mean, you're kind of seeing that already with the energies, but actually see it happen physically is a whole other story. So, I mean, there are obviously reptilian agendas going on, reptilian moon energies. So, I don't know. It just, course, they call it the draconian. Draconian. Yeah, because draconian is just taking away freedom, basically. So, all right, can I to? Let's see. I guess I can do New York consciousness, New York City, Babylonian energies that are currently here that you don't see. The future, we'll do what we can with that. There's only so much you can get with that. And then Sirius about the humans turning into robots, basically. Ouch. Yeah, I mean it's pretty. It's some just do it automatically, and sometimes you have no choice to be a machine. Of course, we have our everyday work schedule where you have no choice. It's hard. Yeah, we'll just see what we. Oh, another thing was the robotic president, a robot president that we currently have now. I mean, even if he's a clone or whatever it might be, it's pretty much a robot when it comes down to it. So, oh boy. It's better and better. Watch the show. Okay, it's SimonToro.com. I private sessions. I have a shop here. I'm on the 18th. Same situation here. Webinars tomorrow. Social network, private, behind the scenes, dating site. Okay. Okay. New York, modern, Babylon. So we can connect to the modern Babylon energies. We just see where it goes. Lovely. Yeah, it's okay. Oh yeah, for our reading for this week, it's not making itself too clear. The governor of getting kicked out of New York, possibly. It's not. It's funny how he's getting kicked out of. There's other things he's done that's more severe than the whole scandal that's going on. I mean, if he gets kicked out, it's still going to be corrupt no matter what. So they might just do that for shock and awe to get people's attention, to shake things up a little bit, but it's more of the same. So, all right, blessings. Greetings. Yes, we are the New York consciousness. Now, New York City it's not agreeing to everything, but yes, it is asking to bring in the dark side of reality. Now it's already had it, especially in the 1970s, of course. In the 20s also, but there's much darkness in the 70s. He said darkness never really left. Yes, there are parallel realities where it is a reptilian city where there's just reptilians everywhere. Like there's humans living in United States, but you go to New York, it's a bunch of reptilian beings. There's nothing against New Yorkers, though. But in parallel realities, it's a major reptilian hive. But yes, it's there to control society mentalities, to bring in fear. Tourism, they're not too worried about because they're going to transform the city to anyway. So it is clearing out the old vibrations. So it's kind of like you bring in darkness to clear out darkness. So it's fleshing out as old. It's kind of like it's putting itself as low as it can go before it refurbishes itself in the future, where it changes to a higher frequency. It's just not quite ready for it just yet. So it's like you're having like a baby brother, a younger brother that's just dark, that's just needs this darkness. And yes, Babylon, the modern Babylon is pretty down there, as you can see. At least with ego's energies, it wants to be dominant of the world, and it is in many ways, but not entirely. There is a London influence, but there's a Washington influence there from Washington, D.C. As it's just basically basically it's a test. They test it there in New York City, and then they see where they can do it and then they make other states to do it. So they force them, of course. We're just here for a short time. Greetings to you. We are the Time Lords, time traveling energies, entities, part of your future. Yes, you're discovering more of yourself. Yes, it has to get worse before it can get better, as what you've heard. Some of you are ready to snap your fingers and let the whole thing fall apart. And it's not going to happen in that way. But August is a turning point for more things to come. Basically, it's like turning a key to open before you open the door. So changes have to occur for future events to take place. So you can look at it as like a lock in a, inside of a lock, the mechanisms within it. You put the key in and you move things around. That's what's happening right now. You can say technically you're unlocking vibrations on many different levels. So New York is that's going to go into a transformation. Of course, the rest of the world is going to take its time. It's going to cause difficulties with many, but not fully lock the world down just yet. Well, yes, of course, Australia is where many of your elite are at this time. Of course, they're going to have, and they like the way they want to create a dictatorship, as you can see, and they're testing it, how long they can go with it. So many of your wealthy that are involved with it are enjoying every minute of it, at least for now. Your future timelines are like breadcrumbs. It's like they're ideas, and the ideas they fall in certain places. You're always coming up with ideas of where the world should go. It's kind of like you're mapping out, yes, your movie. It's like you're creating a movie. So many beings like an idea and they grab onto it. So they like the idea of this timeline and they ride with it. Obviously, not everyone agrees upon it, but you go with it anyway. While you are here, you don't have much choice. Well, that's part of being a part of an Earth collective. You're not always going to get your way. Just like in a regular family, if you're the young one, you might not always get your way, but the older kids get their way. So you're just learning how Earth collective fully operates. If you go in more of a higher frequency, this becomes more clear. There's just a lot of family connections that humans aren't really making just yet. Well, how human consciousness even thinks, where these ideas even come from, such as what's happening now. Where do these ideas come from? Mostly government. Well, because they feel society is gullible. They're going to listen to anything they're told. But they've been programmed to not listen to anything else. Of course, many do break free of that, but most do not. Well, because it's easier just to go by the narrative. Some of them know in previous lifetimes that it's breaking out of the mold is even more vicious. So that's why many are using spirituality to break free. Well, it's easier. You go the conspiracy theory route, you bring in a lot of negativity towards you. You go towards spirituality, it's not so bad at first. So yes, you're going into a time where spirituality will become more mainstream eventually. Many are still in doubts of what it's about. Of course, it still has a lot of agendas for various different reasons. Another thing, yes, would be Australia. Australia. It's going to find its way into your consciousness in some form or another. It might be in the background, but it's also showing what they're planning. So it's another testing ground what they like to do to the rest of the world. Those are living there know of the constraints of it. Let's put it that way. New York has too much light on it. It's too big. Yes, Australia is a country, but New York's still publicity-wise, so they have to be careful of how they do things. Australia, on the other side, how many are truly paying attention? If it's not happened to me, what do I care? So, of course, if you're living there, it's a whole different story. It feels like, yes, Australia, they're pushing the boundaries as much as they can. They don't want people to be there. It's kind of like California, just make them suffer until they leave. California, yeah, that's kind of off limits at this time. But it's for conversational purposes. Greetings to you. We are the collective from Sirius. Greetings. The human machine, as humans are being evolved into another reality. Basically, you are seeing technically like another species of human here. You already have different races. You have Asian, you have Caucasian, you have Mexican, and so forth. But now you're going into the transhumanism part of society. Yeah, you have no choice with this. It's going to happen no matter what. It's already happening. I mean, the only way to avoid it is to get rid of all technology right now. Please, we'll just wait and watch that happen. So transhumanism is going to be part of society. It's going to be a version of another group of people. You already have that with different. You're always going to have that, especially with sexuality discovery. You're going to have that, but that's a little bit more natural. Transhumanism is that obviously they're not going away. So you're already seeing by people giving away their power, but technically, many humans are already activating on that level of transhumanism by just following what they're being told. So it just hasn't been fully implemented, at least publicly, of humans merging with machines, but it is in the works. And yes, many of you feel like you're never thought you're going to see that, but you already see the early stages of it. With the phone being put close to its, to the brain, of anything that's connected to the ears. I mean, Wi-Fi, the ears, and Bluetooth, things like that. Those aren't too bad, but it's also a sign of things to come. It's like almost like, oh, I experienced transhumanism before it was transhumanism by just having a Bluetooth, things like that. So you're seeing the alien consciousness wanting to come through, but it has its positives and it has its negatives. Many are going to just give away their power, and they're easier to control, but others will not, but still want to be part of it. So there's going to be a divide. So yes, you feel like your robots are going to be part of society eventually in some form or another, but a lot of it's going to be transhumanism because it's far more advanced and easy to hide. So realize this: when humans become more robotic, you're also given more intuitive abilities to see more into your future. Meaning, many of you, yes, as technology becomes a little bit more uncomfortable, your psychic abilities increase for those that want it to increase, those that wish to give it time. But now the intuitive nature gets stronger because now your world is going to more of an alien environment more than ever before. Yes, when it has a more the human machine be broadcast, talked about more often, that shows your world is finally actually connected to the universe itself. Doesn't mean you have to necessarily have that to do it, but it shows that you are joining the rest of the universe. Now you're going to have conversations with the universe is a whole other story. There's still a lot to go there. But I'm not sure if the universe is really wanting to welcome Earth just yet. Well, just because there's still a lot of propaganda here, a lot of self-healing that's needed. Not to say the universe is innocent in any of that. Well, some beings that from other planets just want to destroy humans because they get an argument. Just wipe them out. So you gotta be careful with that. I believe some of you feel the rage from some beings in the universe that just want to just come here and kick somebody's ass. It's just the way it is. It's the way your planet has been developed. Because you think the universe is all sweet and sugar is far from it. If that was the case, your world would not exist at this time. So you have galactic problems here. You're here to solve them. Well, as you look at more, it's like, where does abuse come from? Where does sexual abuse come from? A lot of it's coming from alien origins. You're here to discover that through your intuition, through your mind, your heart, and that becomes more clear. So, to give you more detail, like some of you might start seeing reptilian beings actually doing implants on people. Now, you might see it on a psychic third eye, but you're allowed to see it, meaning that somebody helping you, allow you, shifted your frequency, helped you with that to see how things are going. So when more of you start to see beings, basically. As people are seeing beings now, but it's not the clearest, but this is going to become more clear. Now, you don't need transhumanism for this to happen, but you are going to a phase of you're seeing the light of the universe, you're also seeing the darkness of the universe. You're reconnecting to your roots. Because human and AI are usually one, you're always near each other. Or any alien species. I mean, you have animals, you have cats, you have dogs, and then you have artificial intelligence. So it's always going to be there in some form or another. Just your world is now opening up that door to understand it better. It doesn't have to be fear to just wipe you out. You've already had that during your World War II and all of that. So it just you become have an understanding. Not the easiest understanding. Now, transhumanism, when it's going to be more implemented publicly, it's still a fear around it, but every once in a while you'll hear something. There will be a time when it becomes part of your news cycle, because your news cycle, as useless as it is, it does tell you the agendas of the elite. So they talk about UFO propaganda, which is mostly false, but at least they are acknowledging. Of course, they changed the name of identified flying something. Aerial, but of course, because they don't want to use the word UFO all the time. They don't want to keep putting that vibration out there. Because they keep using the word UFO, it keeps the mind going on that. It's like, maybe this does exist. Maybe I am waking up. So they have to change the name of it. Transhumanism most likely will find a way. Now you're already kind of seeing it already by the early stages of it due to your health crisis. Where now you say, I need, people that don't need a robotic arm, I have a robotic arm. That's your now. There's health reasons behind that, but also then some. There's just instead of getting a tattoo, I get a new arm, I get a new leg, just because I feel like it. So that's going to be part of a version of a future. They're not showing when or even if that'll even happen, but some version of it is inevitable here. Some of you are already seeing it, of course. Once again. So, from a Syrian point of view of New York, it is, yes, a masterpiece, yes, of chaos. It wants to, New York City, the consciousness, just the city itself has an ego about it, wanting to be remembered in history. Look at these tall buildings built on my surface. Look at society. Look how this is. I mean, it's pretty exciting to be in a city. Of course, with all the crime and everything, some cities will look at New York City because cities do talk to each other. A city has consciousness, meaning like it's a life form. And that life form talks to other, like it talks to Chicago. And right now, New York City, at least it thinks it's one of the big, it thinks it's all that. Now, does New York City consciousness actually agree with what's happening? Not necessarily. But it knows it needs to go through this process if it wants to be known throughout the world as something significant. It just, cities themselves like celebrity. Think of like a city that wants, look at all these celebrities living on my terrain. Of course, they look at Los Angeles and they get kind of angry at that. Yes, they are. Well, that's the agenda. So over time, some of you might see reptilian vibrations, not just them, but some. As the third eye among many of you starts to clear, it's like, am I starting? Like you see a movie in your mind of what's happening in some of these places. Now, some of you, many or some, have seen this already, but you're not sure what to make of it. But you're going to see other versions of your cities and other places, of course, but the city plays a big role. Like how these beings are manipulating cities to begin with to manipulate your reality. It all comes down to the mind, of course. So yes, you have like in your fiction, like Dracula coming and biting somebody. But what about if it's a reptilian being there to implant someone? As some of you have actually woken up during those situations, especially wake up and see a gray. It's like, were they just trying to do something there? Most likely, yes. Of course, grays have been taken over just like humans. Sometimes grays they compete with humans. Can we be more messed up than a human? Can we have more problems than a human? But in a gray sort of way. Well, the reason why they do that, well, there's some gray groups that allow this to happen, so they can better understand society, your world. So they have to go in their own form of chaos. Now that might be a strange way of looking at, it, but some just threw their whole society away. Not fully, but they allow manipulation to come in, which is not much different than your world. There are actually Zeta worlds where there are New York cities and San Francisco's there of their version. It's like, yeah, we have a version on Earth, and we're proud of that. So many of those type of thoughts will also come through more clearly, not just yet. For some people it will, but it won't go mainstream just yet because people feel like because as entertainment implodes, which it is now doing, many of you are going to get more connections in your minds and just start seeing things a little bit differently than you have before. Right now, I just think it's imagination. I'm just making this all up. But that's not the truth, actually. You're actually seeing other realities talking to you, and that becomes more clear. It's just difficult to adjust a thought pattern. It's like, do I need to look at Netflix or just what Netflix in my mind, my soul? It's like, what am I connecting to? That's your next evolution, also. So yes, it's going to be kind of a scary side of artificial intelligence infiltrating reality. But once again, spirituality is going to upgrade itself along with you. So as long as you don't get too panicky, you can survive all of this. It's just complicated.